So to begin our slash pocket, you've got another two pieces of fabric that I'd put to do 15 by 15. If you haven't already cut them out, you might want to do them slightly bigger, maybe 18 by 18, but just can have a go with the size that you have for now. So rather than measuring 8 from the top, we're going to, because the slash is actually further down on the actual lining pocket piece, to just level up the top edge of the pocket. If you just measure 5 centimeters from the top and find the center of your lining there. And what you're going to do is you've got your lining right side up and you've got your pattern fabric. This is the same on both sides, so it doesn't matter, but you'll put right side down. So you'll have right side to right side. So this, I'll be seeing the wrong side of my lining here. So that's laid on there. And that's my first step. You can just sort of pin that in place.
So you don't have a lining on the pocket, Rebecca?
We will do in a moment, yeah. Yeah.
But sorry, is that but
so now once we've got that 5 centimeters down from the top and in the center, I creased my pocket piece and creased my lining fabric. So just to say again, right side up of your lining, right side down of your pocket. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be drawing a rectangle onto my pocket piece. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to measure 3 centimeters down from the top edge. Three centimeters down from the top edge and draw a line. And then, for ease of doing this the first time, I'm then going to do another line below it that's 1 centimeter down. If you are going to add a zip, I would still perhaps try it with the centimeter parallel line drawn below, centimeter below. But another time, what you might like to try is doing it where it's only 0.5 centimeter down. So the gap that we cut through will be slightly narrower, but this still works fine. So you can see that I've drawn right up to the edge of the pocket. But what we want to do now is just mark 2 centimeters in from each edge and join that up. So what we've got marked on to our fabric onto the back of our one of our pocket pieces is now a rectangle. And what I'm going to do now is sew on the sewing machine round this rectangle through this piece and this piece, so it will join the lining and your pocket piece just around this rectangle. So I'll do that now. So now I'm going to sew round this rectangle, and if you start on one of the long sides, you're going to start in reverse and then sew all the way around. Along the rectangle that I've drawn there. Stop the camera wobbling so much. Get to the end point of my rectangle, get around, and then the bottom line, hit it, up, down. And then back to the beginning and reverse stitch. Then you can cut off those loose threads and take your pins out. Once we've sewn around that 1 centimeter rectangle, we are now going to draw another line halfway between it, so 0.5 centimeter. If you measure it a few times, this is actually when potentially this sort of thicker tailor's chalk does seem a little bit perhaps thick to get such a precise measurement. So I've drawn with chalk a line right down the centre, and then just 1/2 centimetre in from each of the edge there, I'm going to draw out to the outside edge there, so like a little triangle, and that is to indicate that we're actually going to, with our scissors, cut along this line now through this pocket and the lining piece, but just coming in 1/2 centimetre from the edge. We're not cutting right up to the edge. We're going to cut up to that point 1/2 centimetre from the edge, and then cut out to the points of the rectangle, and that will help us get the, when we push it through, help us to get it to sit nice and flat. That's why we do that, stopping there and cutting into the corner. Also, just be careful not to cut right up to the edge, stay a millimetre or two away. So once I've marked that on, you can either just use a little pair of scissors to make the first incision, but if you just fold it there, I've snipped through, and now I'm going to snip out one way and stop the edge of that triangle, and now I'm going to cut out and out. This bit does feel nerve-wracking, I think, when you're cutting through it all. My little triangles at the end. And now it's the fun bit, and I'll take this pocket and I post it through back. So now the right side of your pocket will actually pop through on the inside. It might feel a little bit puckered to start with, but once you've got the iron on there, it does lay nice and flat. I'll flip that over. I mean, mine's not ironed, but you can get the idea then how it's gonna look there. Our slash pocket. Give that a good press, and that's how to cut through. Then all of the lining bit should lay flat behind, and you'll have this sort of post look there. So now you've posted your pocket piece through to the back. If you just want to have it as a slash pocket without the zip, all we do now is get the other part to the pocket, and we're going to put it right side down on this back of this pocket. So you'll have right side to right side, and then you will just pin around the edges there, around all 4 sides. And then what you will do is, if you just pull the lining out the way, you just want to sew around those 4 sides of the pocket. No need to leave any gap, because the way you'll then get into the pocket is just through the front there. So your fabric from the back will just, that you've just added to the back, you'll be able to see there, and you'll poke your hand into your pocket. So that's all you're doing. If you've done it, you're not having a zip on. If you are having the zip on, what we're going to do is get your zip, and it doesn't matter if it is a bit longer. You're going to place it right side down on that letterbox, and if you just flip it to the front here, you can line it up. I'll just show it on this one here, it shows up a little bit more. So you'll turn it round. I've lined your zip underneath there with that little letterbox rectangle there. Line it up behind and pin it in place, and then potentially I would hand tack it in place, and then we're going to machine around. You'll probably want to change to your zipper foot, but we are just stitching onto the lining now, right side up, and we're going to sew all the way around that rectangle to attach the zip. And then we're going to just attach the back. Once that zip's on, in the same way that I've just shown if you're not having a zip on it. So once that's machined on there, we then do the same where we get the other piece of the patch pocket, put it right side down and pull away the lining and just sew around those 4 edges there with a centimetre seam allowance. So you'll either have a pocket that's got a zip on it that when you open it, you'll see a little bit of your lining, but it will zip close, or you'll not have a zip on it and you'll just sort of see a little bit of the lining there, and it still just works fine as a pocket. It just won't have a zip on. So if you've sewn your zip on now, or you're just leaving it as just a slash pocket with none, I've pinned round the other back of the pocket piece, the right sides together, and pinned all the way around that edge with the lining piece out of the way so that I can sew around the pocket, all 4 sides of the pocket, but obviously don't sew through to your lining. So I'm going to sew all the way around there, and then that's your slash pocket or slash zip pocket completed. I'll just keep tucking away the lining piece as I go round here. So pivot here now, just keep this lining piece tucked out all the way around so you don't and keep just flipping it out your way. Using it. Start and reverse it at the beginning and the end, and then cut the loose ends off. Take the pins out if you did have some in there, and that's our other pocket. And there we go, your little slash pocket there, complete with as well. So that there. Look.